Imagine a world where winter dominates, the sun barely skimming the horizon, and the cold is a constant biting presence. In Scandinavia, survival meant battling not just the elements, but the darkness itself, broken only by the northern lights. Here, every decision was shaped by the seasons, but none more crucial than building a home. For the Vikings, shelter was not a luxury. It was the difference between life and death. The cold could kill in minutes, freeze food solid, and make daily life a struggle. The Longhouse was their answer, a fortress against the frost, a place for families and livestock, and a sanctuary for stories and traditions. Every feature of the Longhouse was a direct response to the harsh land, practical, durable, and born of necessity. Vikings poured their hard-won knowledge into these homes, creating not just buildings, but masterpieces of survival engineering. The Longhouse was their anchor, a warm, living heart in a frozen world. It was more than shelter, it was a testament to human ingenuity. In this landscape, the home was everything. Without it, the winter would claim you as surely as any enemy. The Viking Longhouse was shaped by the land, and in turn, shaped the people who built it. This is where our story begins. The Viking homelands were some of the harshest on earth. Fjords, coasts, and mountains locked in ice for months. Winter brought deadly cold, blizzards and darkness that tested both body and spirit. A weak shelter meant certain death. The wind and snow would find every flaw. The Longhouse had to be a shield, not just from the elements, but from the psychological weight of endless night. It was the center of family life, a place of warmth, light, and community. Its strength was non-negotiable. The skills to build and maintain it were essential for survival. Every timber and turf was placed with care, knowing the cold was the deadliest enemy. The Longhouse stood as a symbol of resilience, a warm heart in a frozen land. It was more than a building, it was a lifeline. For the Vikings, home was survival, and survival was everything. The Viking Longhouse looked like an upturned ship, long, narrow, and curved. This was no coincidence. Vikings were master shipbuilders, and they brought that expertise ashore. The bowed walls distributed wind pressure, making the structure strong and stable. The steep A-frame roof shed heavy snow, preventing collapse and saving precious energy. The Longhouse faced into the wind, just like a ship's prow cuts through waves. Its low, organic profile hugged the ground, blending into the landscape and resisting the elements. Covered in turf, it could almost disappear into the hillside. This was a building that worked with nature, not against it. The Longhouse was a perfect fusion of form and function, refined by generations who understood their environment. It was a ship on land built to weather any storm, and it kept its people safe. Viking construction was genius in both design and materials. The skeleton of the Longhouse was timber, sturdy posts and beams, often oak, sunk deep for strength and durability. The internal frame bore the weight, allowing walls of wattle and daub, woven branches packed with clay and straw. The real secret was the turf, thick slabs of earth laid over walls and roof, insulating against the cold. In summer, grass grew on the roof. In winter, the turf trapped heat and snow, added extra insulation. The Vikings wrapped their homes in the land itself, creating a natural barrier against the elements. Locally sourced materials meant sustainability and deep connection to place. The combination of strong timber and thick turf was a winning formula, practical, durable, and intelligent. The Longhouse was not just built on the land, but from it. It was a living part of the landscape. Every home was a testament to resourcefulness, and every winter it proved its worth. Step inside, and the hearth is the first thing you notice, a long fire pit running down the center. This was the heart of the home, burning day and night, providing light, warmth, and a place for cooking and gathering. Around the fire, families ate, worked, and shared stories, the sagas that bound them together. The long, narrow shape meant everyone was close to the heat. Smoke rose to the roof, escaping through a vent, but not before preserving the timbers with its tar and creosote. The fire didn't just warm the people, it protected the house itself. The smoky air cured the wood, guarding against rot and insects. The hearth was both life and maintenance, a perfect example of Viking pragmatism. The Longhouse was more than shelter. It was a living, breathing home, and the fire was its soul. Building a longhouse was a community effort, too big for one person alone. Neighbors, friends, and family all contributed, sharing skills passed down through generations. Every new house was an improvement, lessons learned from storms and winters past. Innovation spread quickly, better joints, thicker turf, smarter designs. The longhouse was a living document, recording centuries of trial and error. Maintenance was ongoing. Repairing roofs, walls, and timbers was survival, not just a chore. Working together strengthened both homes and community bonds. The longhouse symbolized interdependence, built by many for all. It was a structure of shared wisdom and effort. Together, the Vikings endured. Vikings were explorers, settling from Scotland to Russia, Iceland to Greenland. Each new land brought new challenges and resources. The core principles of the longhouse remained, but details adapted. Thicker turf in Iceland, stone foundations in Scotland, semi-subterranean homes for extra insulation. Timber was precious in some places, so earth and turf became even more important. Maintenance was constant. Repairing roofs, walls, and timbers was as vital as growing food. Adaptability was the Vikings' greatest strength. They didn't force one design everywhere. They shaped their homes to fit the land. Every house was a solution, practical, elegant, and perfectly suited to its place. The Viking longhouse was never just a building, it was a way to thrive wherever they went. What can we learn from a 1,000-year-old house of wood and turf? A lot. The Viking longhouse teaches us to work with the environment, not against it, designing for climate, not fighting it. Using local natural materials kept their homes sustainable and connected to place. Their approach is echoed in today's green building movement. Durable, comfortable homes from simple resources. The longhouse was built by communities, strengthening social bonds and preserving essential skills. It reminds us that building a home can also build a community. For Vikings, a house was a life support system, not a status symbol. They poured their best knowledge and effort into making it secure and warm. In our modern world, it's easy to take shelter for granted. The longhouse stands as a reminder. A good home is the foundation of a good life. Its lessons are as true now as they were a millennium ago, and its wisdom endures, winter after winter.